你是否梦想自己更加年轻并更加长寿？这难道不是每个人的梦想吗？世界各地的新闻纷纷报道，全世界的科学家们花费数十亿来研究更加长寿的秘诀。其中最令人兴奋的研究成果就是，在红葡萄酒中发现的一种叫做白藜芦醇的成分，它可以减缓细胞老化的过程。
Recently, we have discovered that the science of human aging is really pretty simple. We age because our cells divide and our telomeres get shorter. What's a telomere? Well, to answer that, let's zoom into a human's 100 trillion cells. Every cell contains a nucleus with genes and chromosomes. If you zoom in further, you see that the chromosomes are made up of DNA molecules that are 100 million bases long, coiled up like a slinky. There are long, repetitive sequences of DNA at the end of each of our chromosomes. These sequences are called telomeres. When a cell divides, the genetic material inside that cell needs to be copied. This is called DNA replication. During this process, enzymes that replicate a strand of DNA are unable to continue replicating all the way to the end, which causes the loss of some DNA. And the ends, if you remember, are where the telomeres are. At birth, we have about 10,000 bases. But as we age and our cells divide again and again, we lose those bases. And at 5,000 bases, we begin to die of old age. As telomeres get shorter, humans begin to experience the general effects of aging: loss of muscle, failing memory, poor eyesight, lack of energy, and slower recovery after exercise. The bottom line is this: when cells divide, telomeres shorten. And bad things happen when telomeres get short. As an analogy, think of DNA as a long row of bricks, and of DNA replication as a bricklayer walking backwards on top of a brick wall, laying a new layer on top of that row. When the end of the wall is reached, the bricklayer finds himself standing on top of the bricks he's supposed to replicate. But since he can't put down a brick where his feet are, he steps back and falls off the wall, leaving the very end of the wall bare. As a result, the new copy of the wall is shorter. Just like this brick wall was copied imperfectly, our DNA is unable to copy itself perfectly. When a strand is replicated, the new strand is shorter than the old strand.
Initially, we thought there wasn't anything we could do to affect the aging process. Now we know there are some things we can do, like some lifestyle changes, specifically decreasing toxins in our body, addressing obesity, and improving our nutrition, plus reducing physical, mental, and oxidative stress, which are all key to slowing down the aging process. But perhaps even more significant than this, scientific research has concluded that the next big step to maintaining a youthful body is to find strategies to actually lengthen our telomeres, essentially turning back our biological clock.
Research we completed in 1997 established that humans also have an enzyme called telomerase that can lengthen telomeres. This research was so significant that in 2009, it was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. Let me explain this research further. We know that there must be a way for our bodies to re-lengthen telomeres because our reproductive cells do not exhibit telomere shortening and show no signs of aging. The reason these cells are essentially immortal is because reproductive cells produce an enzyme called telomerase. Telomerase acts like an assembly line inside our cells that adds nucleotides to the ends of our chromosomes, thus lengthening our telomeres. In a cell that expresses telomerase, telomeres are lengthened as soon as they shorten. It's as though every time the telomere clock inside our cell ticks once, telomerase pushes the hands of the clock back one tick. Returning to the analogy of the bricklayer that can't lay the last brick on the brick wall, telomerase would be like an angel that flies in and puts the last brick in place. The telomerase gene exists in all our cells. That's because the DNA in every one of our cells is identical. A skin cell, muscle cell, and liver cell all contain exactly the same genetic information. So if the cells that create our sperm and egg cells contain the code for telomerase, every other cell must contain the code
telomeres are the ends of chromosomes, and chromosomes are the little tiny things in every cell in our body which carries the genetic information, and they're made of long DNA molecules. And every end of the DNA has to have a little protective cap on it, and that's what the telomere is. And it really does protect the chromosome, and therefore it protects the genetic material. If you don't have a proper protective cap, because the cap can wear down throughout life, and then suddenly it stops working, then the cells don't work properly and start sending the wrong signals to each other and to other cells around the body. We're very interested in how the wearing down of telomeres is related to people's health, partly because we want to know, is it just a biomarker? Is it just, an indicator and it's really other things going on? Or how much is it really causing declines in health, which then are seen as increases in, say, the chronic diseases of aging? But we have a pretty good idea now that it is causing at least some of the risks that people will have the chronic diseases of aging. The big three, the diabetes, cancers, cardiovascular, and of course, we think more and more about dementias as people get older and older. And the telomere shortness that you can see is predicting a higher chance of somebody dying in the future. It's not a tiny effect. Our cells have a certain amount of an enzyme, and we call it telomerase, and it builds back telomeres. Unfortunately, it's not super good at it in humans. It's okay. It gets most of us through, good long lives. But sometimes it doesn't work as well. And there can be many other processes that are wearing the telomeres down. Telomerase can build them back up with the help of lots of other factors in the cells. So what we'd like to know is how can we help that building up process? Well, we've been really interested in what roles nutrition and exercise and what we eat, what role does that have in maintaining telomeres? Because we do know that maintaining telomeres is playing a role in what our health is going to be. And that's the thing that really matters for a lot of people is what's their health going to be like. And there's a great name, it's called health span, which pretty much is the term that says, your health span is the time in your life that you stay pretty healthy and you don't have a real frailty or a disease or some real disability that, really affects your life. So we all want our health span to be as close as possible to our lifespan. So we're down to the basics. Exercise, good nutrition, trying to do stress reduction, recognizing we can't avoid all chronic severe stress. It's very exciting when you find people of like mind who have similar kinds of goals and ambitions, and when the two mesh, it's wonderful because different strengths are brought to the problem. We bring our strengths as our research expertise and knowing a lot about, over the years how telomeres work, and more through a lot of interactions with studies, how that's impacting on human health and wellness. And Shaklee has a goal of human health and well-being, and so that is a very resonant kind of role that Shaklee is playing as well. And so having that ability there so we can respond and make it happen right away, that's something that the Shaklee support is going to make possible. And that's huge for us. When you bring two very different kinds of strengths together, good things happen. And so I'm very excited that this is going to be something where, we really will make some true advances.
现在，历经数年的研究，加康利科学家们将白藜芦醇的研究推进到一个更高的水平。他们将白藜芦醇同马斯卡丁葡萄中的多酚混合物结合在一起，推出了抗细胞老化营养品 Vivix。这是在对抗细胞老化的战斗中取得的革命性突破。它来自美国排名第1的天然营养品公司加康利公司。 马斯卡丁葡萄是世界上唯一拥有20对染色体抄袭葡萄，它含有的葡萄多酚全部浓缩汇集在果皮和种子中，这是嘉康利公司独家拥有的超级葡萄萃取技术。嘉康利公司独家拥有20年马斯卡丁葡萄的供货保障，而且我们只采用天然纯净的白藜芦醇，它来自于名贵的红葡萄酒中。Vivix 相当于10倍白藜芦醇的效力。你每月仅需1瓶 Vivix， 就可以提供3000杯红葡萄酒中所含的白藜芦醇。除此之外， Vivix 的关键成分可以激活细胞防御和生存路径 NRF2， 从造成细胞老化的4种途径上对细胞产生影响，保护和修复细胞的 DNA， 正面影响基因调控因子，减缓细胞衰老，激发线粒体的生物活性，减缓老化蛋白的生成，延长细胞寿命。这是嘉康利公司带给您的抗衰老的革命